Well, let's be clear. I think both the anti-racist and the anti-fascist movement have a case for its removal. Many daughters and sons of Paul were told to lay down their lives for fascism and against Nazi politics. In Baden-Powell's book, he clearly says, as you said, I read all day reading Mein Kampf. He was almost on the board to go and meet Adolf Hitler. And I think we should be clear about that. There's a big distinction between people who are not just slave owners. I mean, he was obviously involved in the murder of black people in South Africa, in terms of shooting people that had no weapons and had surrendered. But the other question is that question of supporting fascism. He had a swastika put on everything. You see, I think there's probably more redeemable characters. Alan Turing, who maybe the person that founded Colossus and went through Paul, he put a statue up to him. There are people, one of the people that liberated Belsen, was from Paul. Maybe a statue should be put up to him. But I do believe, because of these things, that we should put statues up to genuine people that have made progress for humanity or genuine heroes, other than people that gave into...
you would agree, though, the Scout movement has been a force for good.
Look, to be honest, the Scout movement was a good force. Transplant technology was based on Dr. Mengelay's transplant of people using 6 million people that were murdered in the Holocaust.
I wasn't talking about Dr. Mengele. I was talking about Baden-Powell and the Scout movement. I mean, you can't just write someone off and say, he did bad things, and maybe he did do bad things, but can you not recognise the good that he did as well?
I recognise Jimmy Savile led many. All right. It's a knockout.
Right.
I mean,
you're clearly not going to answer the questions.
I'm going to say he did those things as well, but I'm trying to say you have to balance up the good and the bad and what you want to teach future generations. Maybe we should find a garden for tyrants and people that do things which are wrong and stick him in there, but not in a prominent position in Paul. All right. He doesn't deserve that.
Andrew Mackinlay, that is a fair point, isn't it? I mean, he clearly had sympathies with Adolf Hitler. I mean, why would anyone want to erect a statue to someone like that on Poole Harbour? Andrew, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. I don't accept that as a fact. In fact, I refute it. There's not a scintilla of evidence to suggest that Baden-Powell had any sympathies for Nazism or fascism. In fact, quite the reverse, because both Hitler and Mussolini suppressed the scouting movements in their country. The brave people who resisted Nazism in the 30s and early 40s came from the German Confessional Church, who resurrected scouting immediately after World War II in the Federal Republic of Germany. This is an organisation which embraces people of all creeds and race, 55 million today. It's interesting that it's one of the few organisations where both Palestinian scouts and Israeli scouts can join the same international organisation. It's big and mega big in Africa, and I'm very proud to be associated with it. And I don't accept any of the points which have just been put. They're simply not true.
Hang on a minute. I mean,
it doesn't mean to say that.
Weyman just gave us some quotes. I mean, are you accusing him of making them up? Because it's been in all the papers today that he had these views, and yet you're basically saying, well, all the people who've written that are wrong, and that Weyman's not telling the truth with his quote.
I think it's very similar to the sort of the same mood and vein of people. The bigger the fib, the more the people believe it initially. It's rather like what happened in respect of Phil Marshall Bramall. People repeated lies and they became accepted as fact without anybody challenging them. So I do actually challenge them. One of the things which Baden-Powell said, I'll give you a straight quote. He said, "A scout is a friend to all and a brother to every other scout, no matter what country, class or creed the other may belong to." His first camp on Brownsea Island, which this statue commemorates, brought together lads from Eton and Harrow with working class kids. The strength of the scouting movement is that it embraces people of all race and creeds and classes in this country and, I say, throughout the world. There are sort of about 250 scouting organisations around the globe.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a great success story.
All right, Wayman, let's come back to you. I mean, do you want to respond to what Andrew said there about...
I respect what Andrew says, but unfortunately he's wrong. There's a book by Michael Rosenthal. I was a scout myself, by the way. I'm not arguing against scouting. I'm just saying exactly. I'm not, my father was in the British Army. I'm not arguing against that. What I am saying to you is I don't think the statue should be put up to somebody who, unfortunately, it would be much better if he was an angel, right? But he wasn't. And so what we have to say...
But nobody is. That's the point. Like Mahatma Gandhi, for example...
Too many people died from Paul.
No, fine.
You must admit, people gave up their lives, didn't they? They gave up their lives so we could have this discussion. They gave their lives up.
I'm not arguing about that. But where do we draw a line here, Weyman? Because we could make an argument that virtually anybody from the sort of 1850s, 1920s, I mean, a lot of people had deeply unpleasant views on race in those days. We know that Churchill would fall into that category. Now, are we seriously saying that somebody who most people in this country regard as a national hero, his statue should be taken down? I mean, Mahatma Gandhi, he's got a statue in Parliament Square. He was a vicious racist against Afro-Caribbeans.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is this. I think that what should happen is there should be racist due to justice. They should be described as racist because those are racist views. I mean, there's things that I should be clear. The idea, I think there's too much of a focus on Churchill's statue. I mean, many of the people that say they're going to defend Churchill's statue this weekend are actual Nazis who would have fought on the other side. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. And
well, the good people of Paul are defending their statue.
Not Baden-Powell. I'm talking about the Churchill strategy. This weekend, Tommy Robinson is saying he's defending Churchill's statue, but he joined a Nazi organisation and invited people from the SS Waffen to come over here to speak on his behalf. And so what I'm trying to make a distinction of, I think there's a distinction about holding Nazi ideas. And I think that we're in a younger generation that doesn't remember that or give...
What's the relevance to Baden-Powell, what you're saying? The fact is that Baden-Powell has created an enduring movement of which millions of us have been beneficiaries of. It preached and preaches today, but always did, brotherhood, fraternity, and our duties to one another as human beings. That was the theme, and that's why Hitler and Mussolini didn't like it. And also the Warsaw Pact countries, they suppressed it because it challenged the dictatorial values which existed in those countries, persecuting movements. And I'm very proud of the fact that this organisation is still worldwide. It's consistently preached the fraternity of man, and certainly it's something which many of us owe a great deal to, and we owe a great deal to Baden-Powell, who was pioneering.
But he was also a fascist sympathiser, and that's demonstrated.
It's complete rubbish. It's rubbish.
I'm called a fascist. I'm called a fascist every day on Twitter. It doesn't mean it's true.
No, look, this is a man that openly supported Benito Mussolini and Adolf Hitler.
He did not.
Okay,
guys.
There's two books you should read. Tim Gill's book and Michael Rosenthal's book about Baden-Powell, and we should accept that and then decide what we want to do with the statue.
Well, just because it's in a book does not necessarily make it true. I'll just leave it there.
I agree with
Mackinlay, that. Weyman Bennett, thank you very much. I think we had a reasonable debate. That didn't get too heated.